Okay. Okay. So, Joshua Christ on the Uncle John Show. Good evening, everybody, on the Uncle John Show. Joshua Christ. Jewish people. Now, when I say they denounce Joshua Christ, that means they don't recognize him as a Messiah. That's what I mean by denounce Joshua Christ. They don't recognize him as a Messiah. They think Jewish people don't recognize Joshua as a Messiah. They think that another person is going to come. This explains certain things in the book of Revelations and things related to Yahshua Mashiach. That's Joshua Christ's other name in the Aramaic or Hebrew language. These are things that has to do with cards. Getting back to that story. It looks like the card is a MasterCard. It's a black MasterCard. It's not an American Express. It looks like it. So I'm in Grand Central Station at the seafood restaurant. I'm a gentleman. I'll show the phone for the time, the case for the time being. Hold on. So I had a phone like this. Like this. I don't think I had a flip phone. I think I transitioned to an iPhone or something like that. I had a case like almost like this. But it was the early version of the iPhone. Might as well have been a flip phone. I'm with women that are older. They're executives, they're administrators, they're successful women. I'm 17 and a half years old. When I say my girlfriend Victoria, I don't mean my girlfriend Victoria. I mean a girl that's my friend. Now when I say Sophie or Sophia, I'm using the name it's Sophie. Not Sophia, I'm sorry. Sophie. But Sophie and Sophia are similar in nature. The name. It's just a hypothetical name, for example. Sophie. That was there. Was in her 20s. But she wasn't in her 20s, ladies and gentlemen. She was really in her 30s. I didn't understand it at the time. Because it has to do with things that I didn't understand. Just like I didn't understand Victoria. I thought Victoria was in her 30s. Victoria wasn't in her 30s. Victoria was turning. She was getting from the 30s to her real age, or close to. She was between She was turning. She was like 38 or 39. She might as well have been turning 40. Because that's how she was. She was very old school. So I was dealing with successful women. Now, I don't know Khloe Kardashian, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know who she is. I know who Kim is. I know who Courtney is. But I don't know who she is. So I'm at the restaurant. So this would be the table, for example. This would be the table. It was like this, like a square. So it was a square. I was sitting on this side. Kim was sitting here. Chloe was there. Victoria was here. And Sophie was here. So they're at an age where they don't care. Money is to them no option. Money to me money to me is not an option. It's just, it is what it is. Whatever the card is, whatever I have to physically hand the person, it doesn't make a difference to me. But I have to be a gentleman. So how I was trained is this. I learned things. There's a game called the Go game in the Teamsters Union, CSEA, federal government, the police department, etc. And there's a thing called the slow game. And I had to play the slow game with women for a very long time. And I didn't, and as a gentleman, as a man, I made sure that I was the dominant in that conversation. Even though that I was shy and a quiet man. I was very mysterious. And just like this watch, like Steve Jobs would be like my uncle almost, but he was my cousin's relatives. See, that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I don't use that Gita name, that Gaeta, because it has to do with my family history. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a name that one of my grand relatives used, but they used Gaetians because it has to do with what happened in my family history, just like Grantner. The Grantners didn't go by the Grantners. They went by the Gardone family or the Gardner family. And that's another story that's ridiculous. And I don't use those names. I don't use Gardner or Gardone. Just like I don't use Gita. So, Kim does something similar to what Kanye did. Let's order off the secret menu. Let's order a special type of thing in the menu. Let's not and say we did. I did use something like that. See, if Kanye did that, see, something I'm going to explain to you. My relatives are black. My relatives are Spanish. I'm diverse. I'm not just Jewish. I'm not just Christian. See, my relatives are from the KG family. Gita, or the alternative name, has to do with Anatoly, and they're Orthodox. And the Orthodox people, they're all related to the Quran. They're of the Muslim faith. So that was one of my relatives' ancestors' name, was KG, or Anatoly. Things related to that, related to Alad and KG. So my relatives did say to me, you're not just a Sephardic Jew. You're not just a Hasidic Jew. You're also Muslim as well. You're a conservative Muslim as well. You need to practice this. Meaning, not to practice it, I need to understand it. To understand Judaism, Christianity, etc. Because it has to do with my family history. And that's something I did. So, when Pete Davidson was there and he says, hey, we're going to Kanye, we're going to do something off the secret menu or get a specialized item to be ordered. That wouldn't happen with me. That would not ever happen with me. Because the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost, or my soul, which inside I have the spirit of Spanish, Black, Italian, Jewish, the Muslim, etc. The inner spirit said to me, like I think of people related to some of these people like that are powerful people out there that are almost like the mafia people in Harlem that were police officers and firemen and etc. Law enforcement people, lawmen or peace officers. The inner sanctum, the inner consciousness of myself, my soul, said that I use to think of things. Because my relatives came from Johannesburg, Africa. My relatives came from Uganda and Nigeria and Ethiopia, Africa. My relatives are black. So the inner sanctity of myself said, it's not happening. If Kanye or somebody like that or Kim pulled that, it wouldn't work with me. She did do that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's order something off a secret menu. Let's order something that's a specialized item. Let's not and say we did. It ain't happening. Can I see the wine? Can I see the wine list? This is something that Kim did. She was of that age, ladies and gentlemen. She was of that age where she was allowed to drink, and they all decided. Good night. They all decided they want to order alcoholic beverages, and I just find it hilarious. So you need to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. George, Edward, they're biracial people. They're biracial. They're not German. They're Italian, they're French, and they have like olive oil skin. So this is something, they have that black mentality. Black and white mentality, meaning similar people. So she says to me or to the waiter or the waitress, I like to see the wine menu. And I have my hand like this. I'd say to her to the left, you serious? Yeah, I like to order wine. I thought Victoria is paying. You think she said, she points to me. Points to me. Victoria's on that side. You think he points like this? You think I'm paying? He's paying. He's to me. Right in front of, doesn't look at me. He's a teenager. You pay. No. He pays. Okay. She doesn't care. She didn't care. So don't feel so bad, Pete Davidson. I've been dealing with this woman since teenage years. Or childhood. And what do you think Chloe said? She didn't say no or anything like that. It's like they didn't even care. It's like I was a ghost. I might as well have been the Grim Reaper. Or death. And I'm sitting there. And they're ordering expensive drinks. They're ordering things. They're ordering things off the menu that is... The bill was hundreds of dollars. Might as well have been thousands. I'm not used to this. I'm a simple person. They're complex. Yes, I did have money, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, it's crazy to me now, they have me labeled as a poor person on tax season, yet I own businesses, I own accounts, I own this, I own that, and you're calling me a millionaire or a billionaire right now, and even prior to this? That's crazy. So, they order the drinks. They order the shrimp cocktail and all these fancy items. And I'm sitting there and I have my hands like this. And they're all saying, "What is he doing?" I'm praying to God. Now, you need to understand this. I was in these schools, the mitzvah school, the catechism, all these schools, all related to the faiths to begin with. And I have I have this watch, but I have a nice watch that I got through the Diamond District and the Jewelry District in New York City and Manhattan. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck did I do to deserve this pain and suffering from successful women? Now, another thing, I always tipped. I gave, in the city, I used to do 30%. In Long Island here, I did 20%. It varied depending on certain things. And that shocked them. Me taking out money. Like, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. So, this is a $20 bill, ladies and gentlemen. You see this? I used to have hundreds and 50s. I was friends with Ulysses S. Grant, you know, the president, or not the president, as they say. Just like this. And I had a pocket that I had, just like a wallet. Yeah, Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant and Benjamin Franklin were my best friends in life. 50s and 100s. Yes, Ulysses S. Grant and Benjamin Franklin had a lot of friends in my wallet during my lifetime. And I was such one of these bad boys. But I wasn't a bad boy. I was a bad man. I was a bad man. And I was intelligent. I was intellectual. I was smart. I outsmarted women. I was successful. And I wasn't afraid of... I didn't show off. I wasn't a show-off person. And I got paid very well in my lifetime. So I was happy with who or what I was. But like anything else, I struggled with most of these things. I struggled. But I worked on myself. And I've been fighting. I've been at this fight. Not with Kim. I've been at this fight with women for a very long time. Because certain women... See, my mom is Spanish. My mom's Spanish. My mom's black. She's not just Spanish and black. She's not just Dominican. She's not just Cuban. She's not just Spanish. She's not just Haitian or etc. Her relatives came from Africa. Just like my dad's mother. She was... my relative was my grandmother Mary was a Midler. The Midlers had used the E or they used the I, but their original name was Montpelier, and they were French and Spanish and from Africa as well, like Johannesburg, Africa. And they had dark skin or black skin as well. And Italian, and Sicilian, and etc. These are things that was explained to me. as college was going on. So, they go through the menu, they do the appetizers, I start praying, but I dominate the conversation, everybody. I dominate. And that's the thing that the previous video I explained with this wall technique. That's why I said to you, President Donald Trump, you're not supposed to be kissing up to people. You're not supposed to be owing government, not governments. You're not supposed to be owing Russian people or Russian organizations money, just like the Arabian Peninsula. So that's what I have to say. Mr. Wynn had a license. He had a casino license. So my question I wanted to ask you is, why don't you have a casino license? And why do you have so many why were you involved in so many bankruptcies with Delaware and these other states? That's what I find interesting with time and space, ladies and gentlemen. You can't kiss. You can't kiss a wall. This is something that I'm trying to explain. Joshua Christ, those people like Prophet Zechariah, Prophet Gideon, these people, they don't kiss a wall. Nobody kisses a wall. The denouncing of Joshua does not mean a denouncement of him to condone him. The denouncement is meaning they don't recognize him. They don't recognize him as a Messiah. I have a theory he is recognized as that Messiah. He is recognized as that Messiah. But this new person that's going to be the Messiah, it's not going to be a pleasant person. This is what I learned as I understood. I was a messenger prophet. He's recognized. Joshua Christ is recognized as a Messiah. They don't recognize him. They condone certain things he did. That's what was explained to me in the mitzvah school. And that's what was explained to me in catechism and etc. And it has to do with Torah. Has to do with the Torah laws. But I understand and do recognize him as a Messiah figure. And it bothers certain people. And that's hard for certain people. But I do recognize his father more as a Messiah, which is not Joshua, it's Joseph, who's Yahweh. That's his real name. Now I want to explain the person Matt and Alex, Methodos and Azazel, that were the archangels that turned to archangels to archdemons. Those beings have relatives, they have a bloodline that are like members of the Watcher Order. Watcher Order means there were beings that are hierarchy beings, like titans, like gods, that were like deities and etc. And the Watchers were the first creation of what Yahweh and Elohim's relatives came. Elohim's real name is Jonathan. That's how they got my name. My name came from a relative that was related to Jonathan or Elohim. Just like Adonai's name, ladies and gentlemen, Adonai Shaddai's name is similar to Anthony or Adam. Just like Jofi Rapha's name is similar to Jacob. And Rapha stands for Ralph. That's how these beings got their names. They're not one person. They're a family. This is something that was explained to me in these original books like this. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. See, Rabbi Memphis Friedman and Rabbi Mark Rubenstein it showed me, they said, you want to understand the whole story of the Messiah known as Joshua Christ, because some Jewish people recognize him, some people don't recognize him. And I did have to do stuff related to Yeshiva University and St. John's University. And it's a theory, ladies and gentlemen, that I wrote a thesis on in the books. It has to do with Sitar law, which was done by Prophet Abraham. Some people recognize Joshua Christ. Some people don't recognize him. Some people denounce him. Denouncing Satan and denouncing Lucifer is correct. Condoning them, denouncing them, condoning them is correct. Condoning what Satan and Lucifer did. Satan, Lucifer is not one person. Now, I'm going to explain this part with this video. Lucifer's name is Bel. B-E-L-L-E. That's Belphegor. Belphegor became Lucifer. Samael became Satan. It explains it in books like the Cipher and like the original Tanakh. It explains it in these books. And these are things in the Vatican library system that they have. Yes, let me repeat, the Vatican library system. You need to get approval from certain people. That's how I got in. It's the same thing with the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian has a library system, like the Library of Congress. They have a library system. You have to get approval, meaning you have to go through graduate school, and it's related to research and development. It has to do with your degree. You can get approval. It's not difficult to do that. That's something I will say. Something I'm going to divulge on. I apologize for recognizing the person as Joshua Christ to be a version of the Messiah. I apologize for that. Memphis Friedman, I apologize. I apologize, Mark Rubenstein, for recognizing him as a version of the person, but he is a prophet. He should be recognized for certain things. But how he went about doing it, that's not up to discussion for me. That's up to people. That's up to Christian people. That's up to Jews. It's up to Muslim people. That's up to people's views. And that's something I learned with things related to what my gift was, which would be a messenger prophet person, or a messenger of what Joseph's values are or his traditions. And that's something that's very important, ladies and gentlemen. That's something that's important. Recognizing right from wrong. And one thing that Matt and Alex explained, and these beings appear to me in human form. I'm not making up a story. This is true. And it's related to this date that I was in. Matt and Alex, their relatives, said you cannot control the situation. Those people like Lucifer and Satan and those beings that are hierarchy or lowerarchy beings, they think they know everything and they don't know everything. And sometimes you just gotta make them think that they know everything, and they don't. Perfectionism is BS. They are perfectionists. And they don't have a chance because they don't have authority. Yahweh, Elohim, they have the authority. You do have the authority over yourself. It has to do with things related to the serenity prayer. That's related to the cipher. That's related to Jewish people as well as Muslim people. But condoning that type of behavior is important. And that's something that I do have the Holy Quran, because it has to do with jinn people. Jinn people are early versions of what you call demons. And it has to do with one other thing, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. See, Matthew Perry, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Troubled Things. This person I met, and I'm going to explain something to you about this. He was a big component in not lying to yourself. And a lot of you guys that are celebrities for a very long time, you're lying to yourself. You're not being honest. Because this is just not a book. This is a way of life. This is a change in the correct direction. And I don't have fear. I have the fear of Yahweh and Elohim. But I don't have fear of anybody. I'm not afraid of anybody. You can't be afraid of people or worry. And I worked on myself. It took time. And another thing, hold on, one more. Just like Lisa Jackson, liar, liar. You can't lie. Don't lie to people. Liar, liar. That's what I have to say to some of these people out there. You're lying to yourself. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Or liar, liar, dress on fire. You can't lie to people. And you need to be honest with yourself. So I hope this third video is helpful to you guys. Yes, I did. I paid over $500 or $600 for that bill. And those women, one of those women, I did amazing things. I did dancing. I did the flower technique. I gave her roses and flowers, and I wooed her. And I did I did a version of what you call she rolled her eyes. I blew her mind. Like this. You see this woman? I blew her mind. She went, oh my God, so beautiful. So take care, guys. Have a pleasant and wonderful day.